This is Amateur Survival. I'm Darin Cardin. I'm a novice survivalist going on a 2-day simulated survival trip. This time I'm in the mountains of South Dakota. I'll be testing out survival techniques I've seen on TV and the internet. I'm gonna put these techniques to the test and see if a normal person with no formal training can use them effectively. The Black Hills is a mountain chain in South Dakota and Wyoming. It spans roughly 80 miles long and 40 miles wide. The area is mainly known for Mount Rushmore, which was carved into the mountain in the 1930s. The Black Hills acquired its name from the dark green color it gets from the heavy population of pine trees. The area contains many strange rock formations, including stone pillars that point almost directly up. Wildlife includes buffalo, bighorn sheep, and the elusive mountain lion. The Native Americans have called this land their home for thousands of years. The mountain holds special significance to them, almost like a holy location. With the discovery of gold in 1874, fighting broke out between the Sioux Indians and the U.S. settlers. Eventually, the Indians were forced from the land, but to this day, they still consider the area sacred. Alright, let me show you the supplies we got. So, obviously we got a knife and sleeping bag. I've got a couple trash bags, and there's a paper clip in my bag somewhere. I don't know where it is right now, but trust me, it's in there. And I have an idea of something I can try with that too. There is a tower, an old fire tower, right at the top of this mountain. It's quite a ways off from here. I'm not even sure if I can get to it tonight, but I'm gonna see if I can get to it. It was built back in the 20s or 30s as kind of a fire lookout type thing. It's still there, but it's no longer in use. In most survival situations, your main concern will probably be either temperature or water. I've seen many interesting techniques for collecting water. Today, I'm going to use my trash bags to create what is known as a solar still. Basically, you're taking something that has trace amounts of water in it, in this case moss, but it could be leaves or whatever, and you're putting it in a plastic bag and you're leaving it out in the sun. And the idea is that the heat will evaporate the water, and it will, since the bag is going to be closed, it'll end up collecting in the bottom of the bag, and then you can drink it. So I'm just going to leave the bag hanging there overnight, and I'm hoping that in the morning, some water will have collected in the bottom. I'm quick to notice the huge number of downed trees in the area. The mountain pine beetle has infested this forest and taken a toll on the landscape. The damage is so extensive that it's sometimes difficult to move forward. It wouldn't be hard to twist an ankle under these conditions. I have no backup crew, so getting injured is not an option. If attempting self-rescue, knowing what direction you're moving in is critical. You can use the sun to determine direction, but clouds can sometimes make this impossible. I've seen TV shows where an expert was able to make a compass out of spare parts. I'm going to try that right now. Compasses were first used by the Chinese in about 1000 AD. When you rub a piece of metal against a piece of cloth, the metal will behave like a magnet for a short period of time. Make sure to rub in the same direction every time. The idea is that you have a bowl of water, and within this water, you float a magnetized object. The object will line up with the North Pole of the Earth. I actually did bring a compass specifically for this test. I wanted to see if it does what it's supposed to do. So north is that way. I mean, that thing's not doing anything. I don't know what happened. I saw it done on the internet, and I thought I did what they did. I don't know, maybe not. I guess I didn't magnetize the needle enough. I mean, the results are beyond dispute. I mean, it didn't work. I don't know. I'll try it again sometime. Maybe I did something wrong. I know from experience that the temperature on a mountain drops significantly at night. To prepare for this, I'm going to collect a pile of pine needles. I'll use them as a mat to sleep on. It'll help insulate me from the cold ground. It's interesting to think about all the people who have walked here before me. There's a lot of history here regarding the Indians and the early European settlers. This whole area used to belong to the Indians, the Dakota Indians. In fact, the Black Hills were actually considered like sacred to the Indians. Inevitably, tension developed between the settlers and the Indians. A treaty was signed in which these mountains were set aside for the Indians. Then gold was found in the area, and that touched off a gold rush, which touched off an Indian war. General Custer led the U.S. against a group of tribes known as the Sioux Nation. The Indians did not have the resources to stand up to the U.S. and were destined for defeat. As I continue hiking, the summit becomes visible in the distance. I don't got much time left. Sun's going down, sun's already down. Where is this tower? You know what? It ain't gonna happen. I'm not gonna be able to get there tonight. I'm just gonna make camp right on the trail right here. I've been grabbing all that insulation for quite a while now. I'm gonna use the pine needles to insulate me from the ground. Air is a fantastic insulator, as long as it can be prevented from circulating. This is where the pine needles come in. I've just got a big pile of pine needles. And then on top of that, we're just gonna put the sleeping bag. The air that exists in the pile of needles cannot circulate freely. This is why the needles make good insulation. So alright, should be a good night. I'm approaching the summit of the Black Hills. General Custer walked this same path 150 years ago, leading a force against the Sioux Indians. He would later be killed by this same tribe. I've reached the summit of the Black Hills. It offers a sweeping view of the countryside. At the very top of this mountain is an abandoned stone tower. It was originally built as a fire lookout, but was abandoned 60 years ago. Survival code dictates that if lost, stay put and wait for help. The tower does look like a tempting place to hunker down. It offers you shelter from the rain and an excellent place to signal for help. However, the temperature at the top of a mountain is brutally cold, far below zero. The question I ask myself If I was truly lost, would I stay here? Yes. I would spend my days collecting an enormous pile of pine needles and use that to keep me warm at night. When the search party did start looking for me, I believe it would be easy for them to see me. This is the best view I've ever seen in my life. Keeping warm can be very challenging when on a mountain. Nature offers many ways to insulate oneself. We've already seen how pine needles can be used, but birch bark can also be used to hold heat in.
This is a birch tree right here. I believe it's a paper birch, and I know this this bark can be used for insulation because it's, you know, when you crush it up, it's kind of puffy. It holds air in. You could just take some of this stuff, crush it up, and just stick it down your shirt, and that would help keep you warmer.
On the way down the mountain, I'll check out my solar still.
Alright, so as you can see, I just ripped a hole in the bag. There's no moisture coming out, no nothing, so this technique didn't work at all. There's not a drop of moisture in the bag. We didn't really have a lot of sun. You're in the mountains, so the sun's covered by the mountains a lot. So maybe if this had been done like in the desert, it would have given us a better yield. But I mean, I understand in theory how it would work. It makes sense. But we'll have to try this another time. For now, though, we got to get out of here. We got to go. I didn't think it would be this cold. Wow. Man, I can't believe how much it's snowing. I'm not even dressed for this. Like, I've got a sweatshirt and a thermal shirt. I don't have a coat. The forecast said it was supposed to be 62 degrees today. I mean, and that's a good lesson. Especially when you're in the mountains, you can't always trust what the forecast says. Another thing you can do to insulate yourself if you have trash bags is to just stick them under your shirt. Now, I've never heard about this technique being used before, but honestly, it sounds like it would work, right? I mean, the defining factor of insulation is it traps air, and one of these crumbled up bags down your shirt, I guarantee you that'll trap air. I'm gonna try it, and I'll let you know. That trash bag technique actually works quite well, I think anyway. I'm quite warm with those stuck under my shirt. I'm gonna go online and see if that's a real technique, because if it's not, it should be.
This trip highlighted the fact that a lot of survival techniques are not as simple as they appear. An expert can demonstrate a skill and it looks easy, but in many cases, there's more going on than meets the eye. Even something as simple as a solar still was trickier than I thought. Ideally, you'll prepare ahead of time with the correct gear so that the situation never becomes one of survival.
There it is. There's the road.